I must acknowledge that you have received a ton of online harassment and bullying. He cultivated a hate community against you. There was a time, I guess, where there was like a petition to remove you off of YouTube.
It's like sometimes it definitely can be like a little bit like overwhelming. He was like telling me he was gonna like shoot my entire family in front of me and then he'd shoot me after.
Let's get into it. Welcome back to the Let's Get Into It podcast, hosted by me, Sloan. And today I am so excited to have our guest on, Eugenia Cooney. I can't believe I'm even like saying these words right now. I'm like so grateful to have you on today. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm really excited to be on and everything, and I really appreciate you asking me to come on.
Yeah, I feel like I'm in one of your streams right now, like just like your room and everything. It's so
Oh,
like it's such a staple
I feel
to
like
you.
it too. It's super cool.
If you guys don't know who Eugenia Cooney is, she is big on social media and has been for a very long time. You actually got started back on YouNow, which is a streaming platform, kind of like Twitch is nowadays. But I remember watching you with my best friend, and we would go like live ourselves. And I even believe we guested with you at some point, like literally like 10 years ago.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh.
So, like, how did you get into like streaming on YouNow or just really social media in general?
Yeah, so at the time, I guess I was like really young and I was kind of homeschooling in the moment. So
Hmm.
I would spend a lot of time on the internet. And then one day I just kind of came across like this YouNow site and I thought it seemed kind of fun. Like I didn't know how it would go, like, or if
Hmm.
people would like me on there, or like what the reaction would be. But I think that I'd give it a try. And then like I don't know how long ago you were on there,
Hmm.
like when you started streaming on there, but it was so different like back in the day. Like before there was actually a system where you could like upvote people
Yes.
to
Oh my
like
gosh,
stay
I
on.
remember
Yeah.
those. And then you would downvote them like out of a certain room or
Yeah,
something.
people would do that and you could like wait in the queue. It was so crazy.
Hmm. Oh my
So
gosh.
I was like, I probably, I don't know if I'd be like downvoted like right away or like how it would go.
Hmm.
But I mean, I lasted, I think my first time like half an hour. So like
Hmm.
not awful.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good.
Oh,
And
thank you. It was like, I feel like, wow, it was like streaming was so different then.
it was.
So yeah,
It
it's
was so new
crazy.
too. It was like ahead of its time. Now you see it on like TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, all of that. And back in now, it's like, and it's almost like not a lot of people knew what that platform was. Like it was kind of a
Totally.
niche site. So that's what, like how I stumbled across you. And then you went on to other platforms like YouTube. And I believe right now you currently have 2 million subscribers and about 270 million views, which is a ton. What got you
Thank
onto
you.
YouTube?
So YouTube, I guess kind of like when I started doing streaming, then I would see that a lot of people would also make videos and that they were like YouTubers. And I thought it seemed really cool. I thought it was cool. You could just kind of like, be yourself and
And this is
upload
like
whatever
back in
kind
like
of.
2011, right? Like when you first created
Yeah,
your
it's crazy.
channel.
Even YouTube back then, it was like so different than now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess I just kind of thought it seemed like a lot of fun, and I thought I'd try it out and like see how uploading videos went too, and
Hmm.
just kind of also started doing that.
So your channel was created in 2011, but your earliest video is May 2013. So, and I think it's funny your like earliest video is like outfits of the week, which is very like I guess similar to some of the content you still create with like try on hauls and things like that. Did you have like older videos that you've like, because I probably have like 700 videos I removed like of my
Wow.
other channel. So I've been making videos since like seventh grade. So do you have like
Oh
videos
wow.
that you initially had up that you ultimately like took down later on?
I think I did originally. Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I had some that were just like really
Yeah,
cringy,
cringe. Yeah.
like so bad. Like I would
Mhm.
just like make them with like my webcam and like
Yeah.
I think I was kind of like, oh, these are pretty bad. I think I'm gonna remove these. Pretty embarrassing, but I guess we
Mhm.
all have those like
Yeah,
first
those
moments
moments back
online.
then,
Yeah.
right? Especially back like early like that because nobody really knew what they were doing. Like I
Exactly.
can't
Yeah,
even
like
think
I feel
about
like especially when you're new, like you kind of don't really know like what you want to make yet. And
Mhm.
I feel like you kind of learn and it gets easier, but at first it's like Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a learning process.
Have you always like edited your videos? Like, do you edit them or do you have like editors or something?
I do edit them on my own. So
Yeah.
pretty much like throughout since I've been doing YouTube, I just kind of have been editing my own videos. I had an editor for a little bit of
Hmm.
time, but now I'm just kind of back to like
Yeah.
editing things on my own and just like
Yeah.
doing it that way.
It is like such a sometimes like I mean, I cut a bunch in my videos, so I get it. It's like a kind of a
Same.
personal thing, so it's like, I don't really even want like thankfully I have someone I trust now, but I'm like
Oh, that's
she's seen
awesome.
some moments though, where I'm like, wouldn't want
I
the
can
world to
get
see
what you're
that.
saying because, like, with me too, like, I don't know, a lot of time, like, I'll feel like I'll repeat the same thing a couple of times, like, just
Hmm.
like in case it doesn't come out the way I want the first
Yeah.
time or whatever. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, somebody's watching that back. Like, they're probably gonna think I'm crazy.
Yeah. Well, and I even like sometimes for mine like the tone is so specific, so I'll like redo it to be like more dramatic in a more dramatic way and like to
Yeah,
try to
that
capture
makes
people.
sense.
So you kind
It
of
can be good
create
to have different
your
takes and
content's very
stuff.
similar to your like older content nowadays. Like so you were initially inspired by other I guess creators and people on the platform and you've continued to do this for like a decade now. So do you still enjoy making this content? Like how do you kind of get inspired nowadays?
I still do enjoy it. I guess like something I've always been really interested in like makeup and fashion and things like that.
Hmm.
So I guess still where like I really love that stuff. Like I still
Yes.
enjoy making it.
I love it too. Like I like how you keep the scene look going. Like that's at least what I called
Thank
it back then.
you.
Is that what
Yeah,
we
that's
still
that's
call
like
it? Yeah.
like I still call it that because like I feel like I guess like we probably grew up I guess in like that same like kind of time and those are like some great days and it's like now
Yeah.
it's like I to me I still think of it as that like
Yeah.
I feel like now people might have like I don't know like people use some other terms like there was
Mhm.
like the e-girl term for a while
Oh
which is like kind
yeah.
of
Yeah, I guess
similar
you're kind
but
of an
yeah.
e-girl too, like in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like there they have like those like heart stamps. I wear those sometimes. So I'm like, I guess I can kind of be an e-girl, but
Yeah. So
you
when it comes
know.
to your channel, are you like happy with how everything's going? Like, is it doing well? Like, I know like some people. I mean, it's hard to be on YouTube, and a lot of people plateau and things like that. But like, are you
Yeah.
generally happy with where your YouTube channel's at?
And I would say I'm generally pretty happy for the most part. I mean, it kind of does seem like it's plateaued sometimes because I guess, at this point I've been on there for such a
Hmm.
long time. And for a long time it was like growing, which, it's always cool to see that and like to
Yeah.
see that like new people are watching and finding your channel. Like I think like some videos will still do really well. Some
Hmm.
kind of, I guess not every video is gonna
Yeah,
do
they'll
as great as
flop and things like that.
exactly. So I guess I would say right now it's been at a pretty like stable point for the most part, but for the most part, I'd say I'm like
Hmm.
pretty happy with things, and I'm really grateful that people like
Yeah, still
want
tune
anyone wants
in.
to watch. Yeah,
Yeah, and you're posting like
exactly.
2 videos a month, I would say, right? Or like, how often do you really post?
I generally try to post like usually about once a week.
Hmm.
Sometimes it will end up being a little less if like,
Hmm.
it's kind of a busy week or if I just like maybe just really don't have like any idea what to make that week or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say that's generally what I mostly try to keep it as.
Your content's pretty like I would say safe as far as like it's not like I talk about some very like controversial topics on my channel. So you're doing try on hauls and things like that. Are you like do you ever experience like issues with demonetization? Because I talk to a bunch of other creators and sometimes they're like, it affects us all differently. I definitely have my struggle when it comes to it, but like have you ever had any issues with your content?
On terms of YouTube, usually no.
No. So if you like, you mentioned earlier having an editor for a little bit, but have you ever like hired a team? Because like you're pretty big, like you've got millions of subscribers. Like some people, like for me, instance, I have a manager, an editor, and these people. Like, do you have anyone who like helps you, I guess, manage the business side of it?
Oh, that's awesome. I do have like a manager that will kind of help me with stuff
Like
sometimes, like if I
sponsors and
text
stuff.
him.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't really.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it seems like a good idea. I guess I've just never really even known like how to go about like doing it or like who to
Hmm.
contact or like
Yeah. Or
whatever.
like
I
who
guess
to
it's
trust too, because a lot of
yeah.
like the MCM or whatever they're called, like multi-channel networks, they try to come to
Yeah,
you,
I've been
take
in
your
some of
AdSense.
those.
Yeah, no, I never recommend those because they just want to
I
take a
do
cut of
not
AdSense
blame
and
you.
do nothing.
That's what it seemed like for me. Like when I've been under them, I would kind of always feel like I don't know, like they take a percentage of your money, but they a lot of them like they don't really seem to do a lot for you.
Yeah.
Like at least in my experience, I'm like they would literally kind of do like nothing, and then like sometimes you can be in like some really not so good deals where they'll take a pretty significant portion of your money, and it's kind
Oh.
of like for what really?
Yeah, and a lot of people a lot of people in this space aren't like necessarily business savvy, so then these networks make it sound good and then they trap you and then ultimately you're
That's the
like,
thing. And that's like what I've kind of gone through with that so many times. Like they'll kind of give you, I feel like, kind of a lot of kind of like false promises almost
mhm.
and tell you like all these great things about their network and how much they can
Yeah.
help you and this and that. And then it's like, then you join and you sign in and then like they don't really help you with anything.
So you
So
probably
it's
just don't
like
even like trust anyone in like the industry in that space like at this point after going through that.
that's the thing too. Yeah, it's kind of like with that stuff, like I guess like it's hard to know like who's gonna actually help and who's
Mhm.
gonna like not. And it can definitely kind of, I think, like make it hard like knowing who to trust with that stuff because sometimes there can definitely be some kind of like sketchy people, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's a whole industry created just to exploit this industry and, all
Yeah,
of that.
it's like it's too bad. Like it's too bad that like
Yeah.
I guess it's just how it is,
Natural selection.
unfortunately. But
The smart ones will
yeah.
fail. No, I'm just kidding. So currently you're on Twitch pretty often. I feel like last time I looked, you hadn't streamed in like a week. Have you streamed recently, like in the last few days, or?
Like this week, I guess it's been kind of a busy week, so I
Oh,
haven't really been on this week. But normally I try to be like pretty good about streaming and
yeah.
like yeah.
Well, you're pretty big on there. You've got over 400,000 followers on Twitch. So what, like, Twitch reminds me a lot of you now, which you did well on you now. So what kind of like got you onto Twitch? Because like YouTube does have a streaming platform, but I don't think you've ever really streamed on YouTube, right?
Yeah, I've tried it, I think like once or twice. And like it's like it seems like they have a pretty good system. I guess like with me sometimes, like I don't know if it would be a good idea for me to stream over there or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because it kind of seems like a lot of people that I guess like sign up or like, subscribe to like see your videos. I guess I don't necessarily know if they want to see like live streams really often.
I see.
So like it's weird. Like I would notice like when I would go live, which it might just kind of be people being notified that
Mm-hmm.
maybe don't watch anyway, but I would see like my subscriber count suddenly go like a couple
Oh,
thousand down at a time. I was like,
yeah.
whoa. So I'm like, oh, do people really not like the streams like on YouTube? Like maybe it's that. Could
Yeah.
also just be people that are maybe just like seeing her live and maybe just like don't watch
They're
anyway
like,
and
when
they're
did I
just kind of
follow
like,
this
yeah,
person? Yeah. And
exactly.
I,
So, yeah, and then I kind of ended up switching over because, like I feel like when it first started, and like we were on there, and a lot of people
Mhm.
were on there. Like, it was really fun. But I don't know. I guess it was kind of seeming like less and less people were kind of streaming over there, and the site was kind of going a little bit
Mhm.
like I don't want to like I had a lot of good times in
Yeah.
there, so like nothing against them at all.
Yeah.
But I guess just going like a little bit maybe downhill in a
Uh-huh.
way.
No, that's exactly
So
how to describe it.
yeah. So then like I don't know, I was hearing a lot about Twitch at the time and I heard like how there's a lot more you can do with it. Like you
Hmm.
can like have better quality streams and things like that. And I thought I'd give it a try. I didn't really know if my followers would like follow me over there or not, but luckily a lot of them did end up like following me over there too. And ended up going pretty well. So I guess I just kind of
Yeah.
ended
Yeah,
up
it has
switching
done really
over.
well for you. And like I know like
Thank
Twitch
you.
has a lot of opportunity too because there's ways to like make money through people can just tip you. Is that primarily how you make money on Twitch? Like they don't have like ads like AdSense, do they? Like
They do have ads, but honestly, like in my case, and I think this is generally what most people say, the ads like really don't like they're
yeah.
probably going to be like the lowest source of income you get on there. But yeah, it's cool because it has like a tipping system that's
Hmm.
pretty similar to you now. Like with the bits, it's like
Yeah.
pretty much like what the bars were on you now.
Yeah.
And it has like subscribers and all that, where like you can also get like money from like people subscribing and all that. So that's all cool.
So you try to post about like a video once a week, and then you Twitch every so often. So do you ever feel like pressure to like post or to go like live on Twitch? Like, is this something you put pressure on yourself, or like?
And I guess like with that, I guess I feel like, I guess it's like part of the job is like trying to like stay active and post. So I do
Mhm.
try to be good about it. Sometimes like, and I enjoy doing it. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm really like grateful I get to do it. Now sometimes I guess if it's like a week where like, there's like a lot of drama about me or like
Hmm.
stuff like that, then sometimes it's a little bit like stressful. Especially like streaming, just because I feel like
Because you're
everything's just kind
confronted
of
almost like about everything, right? You can't really stop people from confronting you.
exactly. That's the thing. It's like, if people kind of ask you something, oh, sorry about
You're
that.
fine.
If people like ask you something, it's kind of just like so like in the moment. And you just kind of can be so like suddenly confronted about it. And then
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like if you give an answer that's like not the best, or like you
Slip
don't
up or
mean for it to
anything.
come off the wrong way.
Yeah.
But it's not really like YouTube where I guess you can like edit it over and all that. So then it will kind of seem like, oh no, if you kind of don't say something right, people will try to like forever use it against you. And that can be a little bit scary sometimes.
Yeah. And I mean, I must acknowledge that you have received a ton of online harassment and bullying and things like this. And honestly, I'm impressed that you like continue
Oh,
to go on just because like it is so overwhelming. And I have to also like apologize because like I contributed to that for some time, and to the toxicity of like picking apart like what you say, or how maybe you may be living your life. And that's just like super unfair. It's something like I've learned a big lesson about this, but I hate that it was like at your expense, because like you don't deserve that. And you've always been super kind to everyone who's like
oh.
sent even like the hate you receive on Twitch. You're like, I'm sorry you feel that way. And it's like it's like a lot of people wouldn't be sorry at all. But I do have to say, like, I am sorry for what I contributed to it. And just to give some people some backstory, like there, we'll talk about it a little bit later when we talk about like Willie Mack and stuff, but there were some realizations, and ultimately I removed everything that I've ever made on Eugenia. I apologized privately, and I just wanted to publicly say it because I think that it's important for creators sometimes to show growth and to realize like sometimes what you're doing isn't like the right thing at that time. So I'm definitely
It,
sorry about that, but how do you even, I guess, handle it all?
And seriously, thank you so much for like doing that. Like it really, really does mean a lot. And I'm really sorry too for like anything I might have ever said that came off the wrong
No,
way, or,
you're
or
good,
anything
girl.
like
Like the
that.
one thing you said was just you like standing up for yourself, and I was low key like, yes, yes, stand up for yourself, because it's hard to
Oh,
watch someone like get berated sometimes. So like I can understand the stress or the pressure you'll feel about going live, because it's like you're constantly having people pick apart things, and um, even when you're not doing anything, sometimes.
thank you. That's the thing. Like sometimes it would just really feel like people are looking for like anything to complain about, and they just really like don't stop. So it's like sometimes it definitely can be like a little bit like overwhelming, especially like when there's kind of a lot of it in the moment. So I mean, I guess like I just try my best to like stay as calm as I can with it all,
Hmm.
and just like to be kind about it, because I never do want to, make another person feel bad, or like being mean back to
Yeah,
somebody, or like, attacking them back. Because I definitely know it can be hurtful, like having those things said to you.
yeah, and
And
I feel like you're like kind of low key a victim of like online bullying. Like you've like had so much over the. I guess like would it you'd say the entire time? Like was it from the beginning of like you now that you would receive like just unnecessary hate?
it's been like definitely a long time. And I'd say like even like when I started, I definitely would deal with like a lot of that, and a lot of people just like not always being the nicest to me.
Mm.
I will say like I definitely think it kind of got worse where like there was like some certain YouTubers like for a while it
You
was
could say I
like,
was one of them, but like who else is like you can just say them. It's not
oh,
like
if it's okay,
yeah.
like
I
thank
don't
you.
think
Like
this is your story. So like I was part of that. I can even think of like there's other channels like Love Eugenia Cooney and like things like that, but like there are
oh
also creators
yeah.
like who else kind of
I would say like the first one that started kind of making things like toxic, like, or like more so toxic, and
Yeah.
kind of like when the narrative kind of like would change more to like Eugenia is a bad person, like was honestly like, I don't know if you remember
Oh
Onision,
yeah,
like
I do know of him. Like it was kind of before my time because I've only been like on YouTube for like really like 2.5 years. But I definitely
oh
know of him. And like when I was doing research on you, his name came up. But like he's someone like I've heard horrible things about. So I was like, I don't really even like. But he made videos about because I know like, doesn't he say like a predator or something? I don't even know.
yeah, there's like a lot of stuff out there
He's like,
about that, and like honestly, I don't even know everything about that. So
yeah,
like I guess I can't like fully judge the situation where I'm not like that informed
mm-hmm,
about it. But
yeah,
it's weird. Like there does seem to be some really, really bad stuff with that guy. And yeah, it was crazy. Like he started like making it was very strange. Like at first he kind of made a video like defending me, which
mm-hmm,
I was like, oh thanks, that's
yeah,
nice. And then like kind of quickly, like it turned into like kind of just like attack on me. And it started as like one video, and then it
mm-hmm.
kind of turned into like more and more videos being made about me. He kind of like told everybody to go unsubscribe, and to start like disliking all my
Oh my
videos.
gosh,
Yeah, and like some of them he would make were like pretty like pretty mean. Like there was some that like they get like a little bit like extreme. So like I
yeah.
wouldn't want to.
Well, that's
Also,
fine. You can talk about anything on here. This is
oh,
like,
you sure?
yeah, no, you can say all the words. Yeah, everything's
Okay, because
fine.
like
Because
yeah, it's just like
he cultivated a hate community against you. And what would they like?
very much so. Yeah, and like some of them would just kind of be like making fun of me. Like he did one that was like Eugenia Cooney's cooking show.
Hi, I'm Eugenia Cooney and I'm doing a cooking show. But first, I'm gonna eat something on camera to prove to you guys that I do eat. Here are some cucumbers. Are you ready for me to prove you guys wrong, Freely the Banana Girl in Onision? I love cucumbers. See, I love food. So good for my tummy.
Oh,
And like
would he
he'd
like
be like,
impersonate you or something?
yeah, he like impersonated me pretty much, and then like by the end of it, like sorry if it's like
You're
all
fine.
kind of graphic or
No, you can go
anything like
ahead.
that.
Yeah, no, this is
If
all
you're
good.
sure, because
Mm-hmm.
in the end he'd be like throwing up, like faking it, like he'd be like throwing up in like the video and like just like doing
Uh,
like really, really like graphic thing. Like I don't know, like it was just like a little bit like weird where he started out was like, oh, I'm trying to like help Eugenia or like
yeah.
whatever. And then he's like making videos saying that. And he would turn into, oh, she's a bad example, she's this, she's that, when I'm really like, I'm never trying to promote anything bad to anyone. Like I'm really not.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, I feel like that's when kind of like the narrative with me like really changed with a lot of people, and
Mm-hmm.
people kind of got this idea that like I'm like, oh, like not only are we gonna like hate on her, but we're gonna make it into like she's a bad person.
Yeah. And a
So
lot of
it's
like
crazy.
smaller channels sometimes they mimic bigger channels. So then he creates that, and then other creators, start on their own
Yeah.
wrath, and then you've just got a bunch of people. And was it really isolated on YouTube, or did you kind of experience it like everywhere else as well?
Like with the hate.
Yeah, I guess at like that time. I mean nowadays I would say it's everywhere probably.
Yeah,
But like back when it
definitely.
like Onision was really going hard at you, like did you just really feel it on YouTube, or did it kind of spill out?
YouTube was definitely a big place where I for sure felt it.
Mhm.
And I guess like, like Twitter too. I feel like Twitter, it can, I mean, I kind of feel like Twitter has kind of gotten more toxic throughout the years in a
Yeah.
way.
Oh, I hate
Like people,
Twitter.
oh, I do too. I don't even spend that much time on it because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's just so toxic
Hmm.
sometimes. It's crazy. But I guess like I kind of feel like, like he's on Twitter too. And
Yeah.
he's also, I think was on Instagram. I don't know. Like you kind of will see the comments kind of spill over like from there too. And people
Hmm.
also kind of come over and like, I guess like also be pretty mean on your other platforms.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like it's too bad because like it's that kind of like I don't know, like everywhere you go, it's like
Do you kind
people
of like
just kind of
detach? Like when you read these things, like let's say you went on your phone right now and you looked at your YouTube comments, so you see a bunch of crap. Do you kind of like, because I feel like I've learned like techniques almost or skills to mentally detach myself from like some of those things, because like at first I guess when I started it could eat you up, it could ruin your entire day. So do you like sometimes like find yourself just reading these things and feeling like nothingness or feeling numb because like you've seen so much of it that you've learned to like, I guess, detach from that?
I think to some degree, because I think like sometimes like when you're just like, I guess you get kind of used to it in a way
Mm-hmm.
because you just kind of get so used to people like, hating and thinking all these horrible things about you and
Mm-hmm.
leaving the same comments like, over and over. And I guess you've just kind of heard it so many times
Yeah.
that it's like,
Lose its meaning.
exactly. Like I think there's still stuff that like sometimes like it can be hurtful and then especially like some days if you're reading like a ton of them, but I think like at least like one good thing is like where I'm so used to it, like you just gotta like try to not take it too personal.
Yeah, I mean, so like, but there's some things I guess sometimes where it's like it's just too much. Like for instance, there was a time I guess maybe it was last year where there was like a petition to remove you off of YouTube. Like when you saw something like that, how did you feel seeing something so I guess like I don't know, it's not a hate comment, it's not like just a random
Yeah.
comment from a random account. Now it's just like an organized effort to remove you. How did you feel like when you saw that?
And see that kind of stuff, like that's the kind of stuff that like will especially kind of bother me.
Yeah.
Because I kind of feel like when you start doing that to people, it kind of goes past like just having an opinion or
Mm-hmm.
hating or whatever, because like you're actually trying to like remove them off their platform. And then it makes me feel like really, really bad because like, I'm like really just like not trying to do anything wrong. Like I feel like there is like some actual bad things like going
Yeah.
on like on the internet and in the world. And then like when you just kind of see like these groups of people just kind of like, that are so against you to the point they want to get you banned, it's
Yeah.
like it's kind of scary.
It is scary because it's like, how far will these people go? And you've been on social media for a long
Exactly.
time. You've pretty much built your life online. So like, have you been, what's it called when like the police come to your house and they are swatted? Have you been like
Oh
swatted or things
yeah.
like that before? Oh my
Uh-huh.
gosh, is
It's
that
like it's
scary? Like,
awful.
why? Like, how does that
Yeah,
even
like
happen?
oh my gosh, there was like this one guy. It was actually years ago. It was like back
Uh-huh.
in like you nowadays. And he went by the name like probably Onion 2, I think was his username.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, it was like crazy. Like he started messaging me. I didn't know, like at the time it was so new to me, like
Hmm.
with swatting. I didn't know what any of this was.
Yeah.
So I was so confused. Like he knew my address somehow. And like he knew like all this info about me. And
Hmm.
he told me that he was gonna like basically like I guess send like these cops to my house and like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of this meant at the time. I was like, what? I didn't think there was any way it was gonna be like serious.
Hmm.
And it was so weird. It was crazy because we were actually not home at the time. We were up in Massachusetts, so we
Yeah.
were not even home. And then we get like a call from the police that there was like well, actually, neighbors, I think, first started calling us and telling us there's like a zillion cars outside your house.
Really?
And we were like, what? And then I guess what this like probably onion account did, like he sent an onion pizza to the house first. And then like right after he sent the SWAT team. It's
Weird.
so weird, right? I guess that's why he's probably onion too. Cause
Yeah.
like yeah, it's like it's so bizarre. And then we heard I guess that like what he apparently said. I think he said he was my dad and that he was going to start shooting soon with like an AK something.
Oh my
And
God.
we like actually misinterpreted it like when like they called us and we thought like my dad was like in the house like being held hostage and
Oh
like
no.
my family was like freaking out like they were like going insane and then we found out like no it was it was basically this guy lied and said it made up this crazy
Could he
story
get in
and
trouble for that? Like the
I
onion
think
guy?
eventually but it took a long time and
Really?
he had like a broken window from it because like the thing
Oh.
that's so scary is like if you're home the police will actually have to like come in your house with like a bunch of guns
Yeah.
like it looked like when we saw the photos it looked crazy and since then I've had people try like the same stuff and
I feel
it's
like you had
like
the police there like last year or something at some
yeah
point,
like I'm
right?
always having police calling me it's
That is
crazy.
so ridiculous. So at this point, I
Yeah.
mean, would you think that your county or whatever kind of like understands
Oh,
like
they definitely do at this point. Like at
yeah.
this point, like a lot of time they'll just kind of call me and be like, "Hey, we got another call."
Yeah.
And like just the other day, actually, I think it was yesterday, we just got another call from like another
Really?
social worker. It's
That is
like,
insane.
yeah, they're like always calling these people, and like it's like, oh, like sometimes it's like crazy. They even called once on like our dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say Buzz. Like you've got your dog
Yeah,
Buzz, and he's so cute. And like,
thank
I remember at
you.
some
He's
point
such a
someone was
good
like,
dog.
"Yeah, he's so sweet." And like someone was like saying something about his eye or something at one point. Like it looked dry, which whatever. Like it's a dog, but like
Exactly.
they called on like Buzz, right?
Yeah, they literally called like the what do you call them? You know,
Like the
like
animal
those,
services or something.
yeah, like
Yeah.
animal services. And then we had to have like the ladies come to our house, which it's really scary when you see that, because it's like, like we take great care of Buzz, so like nothing
Yeah.
was gonna happen. When they saw him too, they were like, "Yo, yeah, he seems like such a good, like well taken care of dog." Like we don't know why they called us. But they said if you well, I mean, luckily like those girls are really nice, and I think they
Hmm.
understood there was no problem. But it's like when you do that, you could like have someone's animal like taken away from them.
Yeah.
So it's like it's just so crazy that people would call calling us for that when that's like so far from the truth.
Yeah.
And like I feel like you should really only be calling those resources like if you know that an animal is actually being abused, and
Yeah.
don't just call it on people that like love their pets. And it's like such a serious thing to do. It's like it's
Yeah.
so weird.
And do these agencies are like, so in police or animal services, like when they do come through, do they kind of like, when you say like, oh, I do social media, are they kind of like, oh, it makes sense? Or it kind of like helps, I guess, alleviate what they're investigating once they figure out you are an easy target, I guess.
Yeah, like at this point, I think they're really like understanding with that. The first time, which most of the cops are like really, really nice, luckily, that I've had to like, deal with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think like at first, like the first time it happened with that onion guy, I think there were some of them that like just did not understand, like because they weren't used to, I guess, like dealing with these kind of situations. So they were just kind of like, why do you do this? Like this site seems weird. Why is there like a girl's room? You
Yeah.
shouldn't be on here. And I'm like,
Oh.
oh, but God, it's kind of like now this is like my job. And they're like, we could get a different job.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, you're like what one of the guys, most of them are really good about it, but one of the
Yeah.
guys is like, oh, like you have your parents anyway. But I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Just like do
Yeah.
nothing? It's like, I don't know. But luckily, most of the guys there like seem like once they understood it was like an internet situation, they were really, really understanding. And at this point, like one day, even like last year, like the cops actually wanted me to just kind of go like visit the office and kind of meet the cops and meet
Really?
everybody around there, just so
Yeah.
they kind of like, yeah, okay, now we know what's going on with her. Because
Uh,
people call them like I think like that time it was after they called and said that I was like in cardiac arrest or something crazy. So
yeah. So
it's like
how does your like throughout the years, how have your like parents reacted to this? Like have they been like freaked out by the trolls and the calls and the comments you get and things like that, or how do they react?
um, most part they're pretty like supportive about things, but
Hmm.
I think like sometimes like there's definitely been moments where it can be like a little bit scary because I feel bad for them too. They
Yeah.
have to deal with getting phone calls, and they have to deal with having people coming to the house, and people trying to take like buses. He's kind of like all our dogs, like he's kind of like our family dog. So
Yeah.
I feel bad that it's like it can also kind of end up interfering with their life too.
Just to like go back in time a little bit. So your parents are like separated, I believe. You primarily stay with your mom, right?
They actually still are together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my dad, he works a lot. So, and
Mhm.
he's also somebody that I think just kind of doesn't really like to put himself out there
Yeah.
online, which I can understand, where I
Yeah.
know like how some people can get like when you put yourself out there on the internet. But yeah, he works really hard, so he's kind of always like in the city and working and stuff. So yeah, but they're together, and like for the most part, like
Hmm.
good relationship and everything like that. So
So you went
yeah.
from high school. So you said you went to or you were homeschooled at some point, but you did go to public school and then you went into homeschooling. What kind of like I guess, like pushed you to do that?
So I actually had like a really bad experience in school
Yeah.
where like, yeah, I just dealt, I don't know, I guess I just always dealt with like a lot of bullying and a lot of people just like not being very nice like in school. And then
Yeah.
I did like 1 year in like high school. And honestly, that year was just kind of so bad that I was like,
Screw this. I'm getting out.
yeah,
So you did ninth
just
grade and then
gonna
you went to homeschooling and you finished like 3
yeah,
years.
and I just kind of did it online. Like,
Hmm.
there's like this, like I think they were called like Connections Academy or something. And you could just kind of like like
Oh,
study online and
yeah. You're
do
like,
things that
perfect.
way. And yeah, it was a lot better. Like it was for me, it ended up working out. So
Yeah, and
that was
social
cool.
media kind of like just happened for you. Did you ever like have any like desire to like go to college or to quote like work a real job or any like did you ever have anything in mind?
And I guess like I never really wanted to do college or I guess kind of get like a regular 9 to 5
Yeah.
job. So I did like a little bit of like modeling and stuff like that like before I kind of joined social media.
Hmm.
Things that got like a little bit messy just because like I kind of was in something with like a manager that it just kind of ended up being kind of like weird and like sketchy.
Oh
So
no. Yeah.
kind of like and yeah, at one point she literally wanted me like I was kind of also starting to be online and she was like you can't be googleable, like you're making yourself look crazy online, so you got to delete everything. And
Yeah.
it seemed like I was kind of starting to grow an audience and I didn't really know if I wanted to do that, so it's just kind of like and then like I've taken like some acting classes and things like that that I was like in, which was fun. And then I just guess I just kind of fell into this and
Yeah, it all kind
still
of
kind of what I'm
happened
doing. So
organically over time. And like you have like
yeah.
it's impressive to see how you stayed with the times, like going from different platforms and social media has changed rapidly, but you've still continued to produce content and to stay relevant on there. So that's super impressive.
Thank you. I guess I try to keep up with everything as much as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is. It's definitely, I guess it's always changing.
Yeah.
So
So let's go ahead and talk about some of the relationships you've built on social media because you had a collaboration with Shane Dawson, his video, The Return of Eugenia Cooney, which has 32 million views, which is a ton. This happened, or it was posted in July 2019. When did you guys, like, do you remember when you filmed this video or kind of how he approached you with the idea?
yeah, so while I was kind of like away from the internet,
Mm-hmm.
Shane actually just kind of like reached out to me and we started talking a little bit. And he was like always like so sweet anytime I talked to him. And
Mm-hmm.
then one day he was just kind of like, oh, when you come back online, like he said he'd like love to do something together. And then
Mm-hmm.
we just kind of like, kept in touch and kept talking about it a little bit. And
Mm-hmm.
then think we ended up doing it like I think in July that same year. Is I
Okay.
think when we
So
filmed
it
it
kind of
too.
came out that same month
So
then.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually I think really quick after we like filmed it. So
So how do you feel about that video when you look back on it? Do you feel like
yeah.
highly of it or?
And I guess now it was like so long ago, like it's
Hmm.
crazy. But yeah, it was really good getting to, make that with Shane. And Shane, I feel like was just like super, super kind and understanding throughout like the entire
Hmm.
video. And I think he always does like a really, really great job with his videos. I guess like that time in my life, like just with like a lot of things that were going on and
Yeah.
everything, it was kind of like not really the best time in my life in a lot of ways.
Hmm.
But Shane, I definitely think it was like, it was really great filming with him and like and I think he always does a really, really great job in his videos.
Yeah, because some people look back on it and they're like, oh, he exploited her, he did all that, but you don't feel like that was the case, right?
Not at all. I
Yeah.
think he really only made the video with like good intentions
Hmm.
and like I definitely don't think that was at all what he was trying to do.
So do you guys ever like chat nowadays? Are you, I mean, I'm sure you're like civil or on good terms, but do you ever like catch up with him?
It definitely, yeah. Like we're still on really good terms, and I still will talk to him sometimes. Like sometimes we'll still kind of like text and things like that.
Hmm.
And he's always been like super super kind to me, always, and been a really good friend. So yeah,
One of Shane's like great online friends is Jeffree Star. They've done their collabs, and I've seen you. I think even recently you posted a video about his wedding collection. What's your
yeah.
relationship with Jeffree?
I've actually never met Jeffrey before or anything, but I've been watching him online a really long time and like his videos and stuff. And I think he seems like a really cool person. I think he
Hmm.
makes like really great makeup and yeah, and I think like, it's really awesome that like he's worked so hard to like have his makeup
Yeah.
company and
Are you on the PR
yeah,
list?
I'm not, no.
So did you buy it, the recent one?
Yeah, I just
Oh
kind
my
of buy, yeah,
gosh,
I just kind of buy the
girl.
makeup.
No, Eugenia needs to be on the PR list, Jeffree Star. Like,
Oh,
if anyone's gonna be on, because I like that you make videos like kind of consistently with his like collection sometimes. So I'm like, I assumed that you were on
oh.
some PR list, but
Oh no, I really love his makeup and I think he makes like really, really great like
yeah,
products and stuff. But yeah, no, I'm not PR.
yeah. So
I'll
both,
feel bad because sometimes I'll see people be like, I don't know, like either they'll like hate on him, I think, for like
yeah,
sending me PR when I'm like, guys, I'm not even on like no, it's
yeah,
not a PR thing. I'm just like, making videos about like things I like or I don't know. I guess people just kind of find things to get mad about. But
yeah.
yeah.
Well, both Shane and Jeffrey, they receive like a lot of hate, similar to yourself, but like in a
Yeah.
different way. And there's kind of like it almost like seemed like a switch up, like a lot of people like really loved them, and then it like switched to them getting a lot of hate. And nowadays they continue doing what they're doing. But do you ever think like, I mean, some would say they've been canceled, but like, I mean, if I feel like you can only really cancel yourself. When you look at like what they've gone through the last couple of years, like how do you kind of like see that situation? Do you kind of relate to it in some ways, or
I definitely can in some ways. And in a way, like, I honestly, like, I really admire that about both of them, that I feel like they're definitely both two people that have dealt with so much hate online. And I really think have just like stayed strong throughout everything
mm-hmm.
and just kept going no matter how mean people have been. And I really think that, like, I don't think they are cancelable at all. Like, I think like sometimes people are really quick to kind of point out like what they think is wrong with somebody else
Mm-hmm.
and to like, judge other people. But I really think like as long as like, like and I think both of them obviously, they have so many people that do love them and so many
Yeah,
supporters and fans that even if some people want to be really mean and hateful, then I don't think that would like ever
yeah,
get them like actually canceled. And I think like you can't really cancel people like unless they kind of like choose to go away.
yeah.
I think if you just kind of keep like pushing through it, then it's like you can get through it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
can be a lot sometimes, but yeah.
So it's nice that you look back on the Shane video and you don't think like, I guess, necessarily poorly of it, because it's it's got a ton of views. So it's nice that that exists. And I think it's like great that you feel like he respected your position at in that time and the story and things like that. I feel like someone who you had a connection with online and who did not ever like respect your privacy was Jacqueline Glenn. She's someone who you were like kind of like real. Were you real life friends with her? Or did you just hang out like a couple times, or like what was that
Um,
relationship?
I mean, like we were friends, but I feel like a lot of people kind of get this like idea that we were like a lot closer than we were.
Yeah.
Like we would kind of hang out at like some YouTube events, and there was a couple of times like we hung out like in LA.
Hmm.
But it's not like we were seeing each other like super often, and we weren't really talking all that much. We were both on
Hmm.
you now, so it's like sometimes we'd see each other's streams or like whatever. But
Yeah.
I feel like it's weird. Like I've seen like some people be like, Eugenia is like a liar saying that she used to say that she's like her sister. And I'm like, I never said that.
Yeah.
Like, where did that quote come from?
Yeah.
Like,
It was more
show
of
me
like
the
a
video, people.
yeah, like a working relationship. And so we don't need to like rehash everything that happened with Jacqueline Glenn, but it happened before the Shane video, right? Like everything. And
Yeah.
she went online
Yes.
with some other people and she put a lot of your business out there. Ultimately, it like at some point it resulted in you like having being put under like a 5150. And again, we don't like need to like get like super deep into it, but I think I've seen clips of you before like describe that experience poorly, and I think like sometimes people like assume that all help is good help. Kind of like lawyers, like not all lawyers are good lawyers. Some people are bad lawyers, and sometimes you could be
Yeah.
in a put in a position where people are trying to help, but in reality it doesn't. So when you look back onto that, like how do you see that situation now?
Yeah, I think what you're saying is so true. And like at this point, I guess it's been so long and I don't wish like any ill will towards her whatsoever, or any bad on her or anyone
Hmm.
else that was like kind of like involved in that. But I do just kind of think, it was such like a crazy, like weird day to me, like that day, because I kind of like went into it like,
Were you in
with what I was
California,
told.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like told I was meeting up with them to like go to an escape room that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what happened.
Oh, that is
And then
so nasty because like then how are you going to trust people? Like if you're like you're just being invited to an escape room and then you end up
that's
what
like
happened?
so how I got like
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
that thing happened. Like it was so hard to like trust anybody because I'm
Yeah.
like, like I just think I'm kind of going with like friends. Not to say that like in a mean way at
Yeah,
all,
no,
but
you thought you were
it
just going
felt
to
like
hang
it at
out
the
with like
time.
these your friends and then like how like it's also just think about the mental like I think about like your brain, sends off these signals, you're about to go hang out with friends, it's like, you're preparing for a good
Yeah.
time and then where did you end up actually like going?
And then like where I ended up being sent, like it was so strange because they kind of like, she had me come in the house and everyone was acting kind of normal to me, but then suddenly there's like I think they were social workers, honestly, like
Mhm.
I'm not 100% sure how that stuff even like
Yeah.
I didn't even like know what a 5150 was like
Yeah.
when that happened to me. So I was just like so like I was honestly so scared. And then and it was so strange to me too, because like the thing is like I know they say otherwise and it's
Mhm.
it's okay because it's in the past, like
Yeah.
it's whatever. So I'm not at all trying to start any
Yeah.
drama with them or anything like that, like whatever. But I know like when like when they kind of talked about that whole situation, they're like, oh, we talked to her so many times before and that literally never happened like
Mm.
at all.
Yeah.
So it was like just very, very
So you
like
didn't see
out
it
of
coming at
nowhere.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, like it was like the least thing I was expecting that day. So I was like so nervous. Like that was like the last thing I was expecting to happen. And
Mhm.
I was like calling my mom and my mom like she did kind of she wasn't happy about it, like
Yeah, so
because
she
like
stood up for you.
I think it's understandable. I mean, I know some people really get mad at her about that, but it's like, I think if you think your daughter is going like one place and then you're finding out that they're like, because where I went, honestly, it was like very, very scary.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not at all trying to say that all places are like this or
Yeah.
trying to like scare anyone out of getting help, like, just to be clear at all. But where I was like sent, like, it was awful. Like, it was just people screaming
Oh my
and
god.
people um like the next door over was a jail, so there was a bunch of people coming over in like orange suits because like that's where they come from.
Mm.
Because not to at all say like anything like negative about those people, because I'm sure
That's
they're
fine.
going through like a lot mentally,
Yeah.
but it is just really scary like when you're in that kind of place and there's people yelling things at you and swearing and people banging on walls. And there's like one guy that he was like trying to like steal people's clothes there and like get in people's beds. It was like and then everyone there, like no one really take you seriously, and if you try to like explain things to them, they just kind of treat you like you're a crazy person.
Mhm.
Because I guess they see a lot of things in there, so they're
Yeah.
like, I don't know,
So like they don't
it
believe
was
you what you're saying cuz like they
yeah.
hear, this stuff all the time from these people who do belong there.
Yeah, because like that's the thing. Like there's a lot of people there. Like I remember like at one point, like there was one girl that they were seeing if they could like release one guy, and she was like, "Do you still feel like hitting people with cars, like running people over?" And
Uh,
it's like there's like actually like some really, really like scary people in there. Or at least like that's
yeah.
how it felt.
How long were you like in the
So
facility?
now I was released because like honestly, like my tests, like when they had to like test me for things, like
Yeah.
they came back like okay. So it
Yeah.
wasn't like I guess I was like they could extend it if they wanted to. Like I think
Yeah.
like I didn't even know this like until after too, but I think if they really wanted to, they could make it into like a 52-50, which is
Oh.
at least 2 weeks,
Oh.
and that's what I heard.
Yeah.
But I guess like I think they started to see that this wasn't really what it was made into, because the other thing that happens, like honestly, that day, again, like no hate against like
Yeah, that's
Jacqueline
fine.
or anyone involved, because to me it's just kind of like I don't really know why some of these things are said, or why they said them. It's honestly kind of confusing to me.
Mm-hmm.
But what was told to like these social workers, like some stuff with my family and some things like with me and things like that, it was just like none of it was true.
Yeah.
So I was just like, and where it's kind of a couple of people against me,
Mm-hmm.
like
So what do
I
you
just,
what are you supposed to
yeah.
do?
And
Yeah.
plus, I probably didn't exactly present myself like the best that day because I was just so nervous. I was like, oh,
You're
like
probably
I
so
was,
you're so caught off guard in that moment.
yeah,
So
completely. I I was so scared.
yeah.
So it was
Oh.
like, oh, so I think, how long was I there? I think it was like, I think they're supposed to be able to hold you up to like 48 hours,
Mm,
but
okay.
technically it can be longer.
S- Did
I
your
think
like
that's
mom
something a
come
lot of
and
people don't.
rescue you, or like
They
your family
tried
come?
to. At first, they wouldn't even. I think I ended up being there like a day and a half because
Oh my
when she was trying to
gosh.
help me eventually, first I had to even like give them permission to like let her speak to me because they were like convinced that like they
Oh,
were like,
because of
oh,
what
by
Jacqueline
what.
and them told, they're like they think your mom is like some
Yeah.
abusive
So
like.
she was like not even allowed to talk to me like at all. And then I had to kind of like really try to explain to them that like that stuff wasn't true, that my mom's not a bad person, that I do want to talk to my mom.
Yeah.
And even when they would let me speak to her, it would literally be like with like a line like behind us that they mark, and it would be for
Weird.
like a minute. Like it would be like 2 minutes max, I'd say.
Oh my
And then you're just
gosh.
kind of back in the room with all the yelling. And my mom would like hear the screaming. She'd be like, oh my gosh, like, are you safe in there? Like,
Yeah.
but it's like, oh, once that happens, like even at first she had trouble, like she couldn't like just get me out because
Mm-hmm.
once they kind of like lock you up, it's like there's not
Yeah.
really a ton you can do.
So
So it's like, it's really bad.
and you've received like your fair share of hate online, and we've noticed, like I've noticed, your mother has too, and also I'm at fault for contributing to that, like calling out your mom before when I really don't know what's going on there. Do you think like she's become a target because you've like put her on your channel in the first place, and then people kind of felt like comfortable going after her character?
Yeah, and I feel really bad about that because
Yeah.
like, I feel like, my mom really is a good person and she's really done like nothing to deserve like all the harassment she gets.
Yeah.
And I do kind of feel like sometimes people will just kind of like see like a video of her and then just kind of like where she's in a video with me, they'll judge like a lot of stuff with her and put her down too.
Yeah.
And it's like, they really don't even know her, like what kind of person she is. So, yeah, I feel like a lot of
Yeah.
that is like really
And a lot of
like,
people like
uh,
they cast their harassment as like concern.
yeah.
And do you like feel like there's any reason why anyone should be concerned for you right now?
I really don't think that anyone has to be,
You're like,
like
don't
I
worry.
yeah, like really no worries. I really am doing okay and everything,
Hmm.
and don't feel like I need people to be,
Yeah.
worrying or calling cops or
Anything like
anything
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Animal control.
Yeah. But I do want to ask just quickly a few things. Like, what is your like day to day like? Like, what do you do? Like,
Yeah.
do you wake up and then like, cause I like film a lot and such. So like, what are you doing when you're not like filming and streaming?
Yeah, so definitely I will spend a lot of time kind of like between like filming, streaming, thinking of like
Yeah.
ideas and just like, I guess social media in general could take up a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, I mean, I love like makeup and doing that, like shopping. I love animals. So I
Yeah.
always love to spend time with Buzz and
Do you do your makeup like
you
every
know,
day? Like, if you're not filming or
pretty
streaming, do you still do
much.
your makeup? Yeah.
Pretty much I will. Like, like if I'm still like going out anywhere or anything like
Yeah.
that, then usually I'll still do it and I'll kind of spend like a good amount of time like doing it. Like I know some people are like, you would never know because it's like such a mess,
Oh
but
my God, stop.
like
No, it's like your signature.
uh yeah, like thank you. So yeah, I guess like I'll do a lot of stuff like with that. Sometimes like playing games or
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Do you ever play
So
games when you're not streaming, or are you always like, do you typically just like to play when you stream?
sometimes, like I guess like a lot of time I feel like games can take up like so much time that like
Yeah.
sometimes like
Might as well
I feel like I
stream
won't
and
have yeah, I
yeah.
won't always have like that much time to, but sometimes I will. Do you play
Yeah.
games at all or
No, I used to play like Sims
okay.
back in the day, but like that was about it.
Nice.
So when it comes to like your day to day, so you like will run errands and things like that, and something I
Yeah,
have
errands, like
is
kind of go
something
do
like
stuff like that.
that I think is so ridiculous that happened recently was this like story that you were at VidCon and then you provided like some type of receipt to so pretty much and just as backstory and we're not sending hate to Adam. I've already like told Adam like I was gonna talk about this, but like Adam McIntyre like pushed out like the idea that you were at VidCon recently, which have you ever gone to a
Yeah.
VidCon before?
I've gone to VidCon in the past, but I
Yeah.
haven't been to VidCon in years.
Yeah.
So
So then for some reason like he believed that you and your mother were there and then he like shot out a tweet or something and mentioned it in a video and it started like growing because people were like confused because I mean you're well known if you were somewhere like this there's really like no way I would think that like someone wouldn't get a photo with you or of you at least. And you ultimately like addressed it online and provided a receipt. What was the receipt from? Like Home Goods
it
or something? Like
was, yeah, it was so strange. Like, honestly, that rumor, I was so confused.
still
Um,
confused.
yeah, it was super weird. And I think I had a Home Goods receipt like the other
Yeah.
day because I was at Home Goods. And I also had like I was at a hair salon like one of the days. So like I kind of like screen capped like my hair salon. It literally says I was in Connecticut, and then I had like a physical receipt. I was like,
Yeah.
look at the date. Like
That is
I
so
literally was like not in California.
like that right there is just like something again where it's like I don't know it's hard for me to like it's hard to take seriously because you're just like what the hell you're dealing with so many random things and it's like at this point it's like you are like
Yeah,
it's just like everything's stacked against you. It's like you have to go and pull up a
exactly. Like it was so strange. Like no hate against Adam either, because I
yeah.
think like he's been pretty nice about the whole situation, and I think like maybe he saw someone that looked like me, and
You
it's just like
guys
a
like
really big misunderstanding.
it's like agree to disagree at this point, but like we'll be
God.
like
And he said
chill.
like, were you at VidCon?
No, I was not. No.
Okay, because like yeah, he said like there was like a bunch of
Yeah, I
like
wasn't
I'm
part
not
of
saying he's
it.
lying at all, but he said like apparently a bunch of his friends also saw me there, and I'm so curious. I'm like, who are these friends? Like, who saw me?
Yeah.
It's like it's so weird. I was
Yeah, none of
like,
them really like came
uh,
up and like vouched for him. So that's
because
kind
like
of
I haven't seen really anyone else say it. I think there's like his reporter friend,
I know Cat, yeah.
yeah, Kat. And I think she may have said she saw me, but I just don't know. I don't know who they think like I don't know who they thought was me. It's like it's probably one of the weirdest things I've heard.
Yeah.
So
Um
yeah, I tried telling him I was like, I'm really sorry you had a bad experience, but like I it wasn't me. But
yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully he believes me someday.
Yeah, one day you'll come to terms. So I feel like when it comes to you online, I really hope that there's like it gets better as far as like I don't know, the hate and things like that. And I do think that Willie Mack is like a smaller creator who created a video that did really well and like he really like went hard on some people. I was like briefly mentioned in it, but he went hard on like Bill Aubrey and like someone else who were constantly
Yeah.
making videos about you and he really kind of called them out on some hypocrisies in there and I do think it's really impressive that he did that and like kudos to him for that. Did you watch the video and how did you feel when you saw that?
I did watch the video and I thought he did a really great job with it. Like I
Mhm.
really appreciated everything that he said. Because I feel like, yeah, it is kind of like some of these people, like I know Belle, like no offense to
Yeah,
Belle
no.
or
I mean,
anything,
she's not really even
but
creating anymore,
I
so
think, yeah, I think like she kind of doesn't make videos now or kind of changed up her
after she
content
stopped
or
talking about you,
something.
she kind of like just stopped,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, like that was I don't know, like just some of these rumors that like I'd see people like her starting, and there was like
Hmm.
some other channels that I think will kind of like join in and go off on like these crazy like insane rumors that it's like there is like literally no truth to like whatsoever. But they'll
Yeah.
just kind of like present them as fact and be like she knows what she's doing and like all this stuff when like I really don't.
Yeah.
And like so it was just really good to see that like there was like somebody out there that will actually like see things from a different perspective, and I feel like actually like research things, because
Yeah.
a lot of time I just kind of feel like people kind of like pick and choose like like one thing was like the makeup box. It was like, I don't know if you
Oh
heard
yeah,
about
the
that
picking.
thing.
Yeah, over. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, why would I do that? It's like, honestly, sometimes I don't have the best memory. And
Yeah.
I do my makeup like right. I have like this pink couch that like I'll do my makeup on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it kind of makes sense for me to like move the box over to do my makeup where I keep my palettes and stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like when I be on stream, because I'll do like pretty long streams, I'd be like, yeah, I should probably move that out of the way. And like I forgot to move it earlier. And like I totally get that like when you compile all these clips and you like make it seem like, oh, this is happening every time. It's like it might seem weird, but it's like, guys, there's like literally hours more of my stream where that stuff isn't happening.
Mm-hmm.
100 bits is equal to $1. Like they're
Yeah.
acting like it's literally coincidence. So it's like, it's really good to see the people like Willie Mack like actually look into that kind of stuff and like actually like research things.
Yeah.
And like we'll actually kind of try to point out how some of this stuff just really doesn't add up and make sense.
Did you ever speak to him? Have you ever
Yeah,
spoken to
I've
him?
talked to him a little bit by just like DM and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always been like really, really nice. Like anytime he's like talked to me,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's
I
just
actually
good to see
called
that.
him
Like,
after he made the
did
video. Yeah,
you?
because he included
Oh,
that clip,
hi.
the clip where the Aphrodite, which no hate to him, but like I don't necessarily believe
Yeah.
in that stuff. And that video I put together that he referenced, I kind of like when looking back on it, I didn't know in the moment, but I threw it together. It was poor research, exactly what you're describing, like the opposite of like Willie. Like that's exactly what I did. So I actually called him after, and I was like, I didn't tell him to like remove my part or anything. I just wanted him to like know from me, like I don't actually believe that or think that way. But yeah, he was a really kind guy, and I think it's important that
That's
he like
great.
reshaped the narrative for you. We do have to wrap up in a couple of minutes, but I do want to like
Oh
ask you
yeah.
if there's anything like you like want to talk about, promote, or like address, or just anything in general. I mean, I think you already kind of reaffirmed that you're doing well. People don't need to really worry about you. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
And I would just really like to thank everybody that actually does just kind of like, hear me out on things and doesn't just
Mhm.
like view me as like this evil person.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes like people really, really get like the wrong idea about me. So to everyone that does support me, I really appreciate all those people so much. And I really appreciate you having me on today and like us
Yeah.
getting to talk and everything.
Uh,
And it's been super fun. So like thank you
yeah.
so much for everything and like giving me this chance.
Yeah, and I'm just super grateful for it, and I think people like need to lead with some love, honestly, because like when I made the like, you were just like the world like needs more Eugenia Cooney's because you're so forgiving,
Oh,
and like a lot of people like would have never even given me or, listen to my apology in the first place, let alone come and have a conversation. I think it's super important, and there's, we all have our own lives, our own stories, and like you're not exempt from that. So I think people need to have a little bit more compassion and just like again like lead with more love opposed to this crazy amount of hate and just the next level calling, going after your family. It's all really unacceptable, and it's something I condone, and anyone who is part of my community I condone. Like we don't do that. So I hope that people can really start like leading with that more positive mindset and narrative, and not really trying to make you into an evil criminal or something. You're not like, you haven't done anything compared to what you haven't done anything bad compared to what you've received in amount of hate and such. So I think you just need to keep on doing what you're doing, and some other people
aw.
need to do some self-reflection.
Thank you so much. Like, I really, really appreciate what you're saying. And, like, I just think, yeah, like, the world just kind of, I think, needs more love in it. Like, there's just,
Yeah.
like, way too much hate out there, I feel like, towards people sometimes. So, thank you
Yeah.
so much for, like, what you said. Like, I
Of
really
course.
appreciate it a
And you're just
lot.
super positive too, like always so positive. I'm
Aw,
just like, how is she so positive? But it's like inspiring because life is just so much better when you lead like that. So
thank
you guys can
you.
go and check out Eugenia Cooney on all social media
Aw.
platforms. I will link everything below. I'm so grateful for having her. So go and send her some love and thank her for coming on to the podcast. Any last words?
Well, thank you so much. And like it seems like you have such a great podcast so
Oh,
far, and I
thank
had
you.
so much fun. So
I'm
like
so
thank you
excited.
so much for having me on. I'm so excited too. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Well, thank you guys, and tune into next week's episode. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.